Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Beam Global's channel, a clean technology leader providing innovative, sustainable products and technologies for electric vehicle charging, energy storage, energy security, and outdoor media. Joining us, Desmond, the Chief Executive Officer, is going to take us through their product lineup, their investor presentation, and a bit more in between. So first and foremost, welcome back, sir.
Carl, thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Always a pleasure to get you on. I find you guys to be one of these very intriguing industries that I'm sure people have a lot of interest in. So I'm just going to hand this off to you. Take us through the investor deck and let's kind of see what's going on under the hood there at Beam Global.
I think it is a fantastic and intriguing industry. I love what I do, and hopefully that will come across here in the next couple of slides. So I'm going to actually start off with the most important thing, Kyle, which is the actual products that we make. I don't think there's any more important part to our story. You're looking at a slide now, I hope, that shows some images of the products that we make. And starting out on the left-hand side, the EV ARC, electric vehicle autonomous renewable charger. Underline that word, autonomous. This is the world's only transportable but permanent, fully renewably energized electric vehicle charging infrastructure product. The United States is going to need something like 60 million publicly available EV chargers over the next couple of decades. We have the fastest deployed, most scalable, most robust, and lowest total cost of ownership solution to provide EV charging. That thing that you're looking at there is deployed without any construction on site, without any electrical work. It's not connected to the utility at all, so you never get a utility bill. So we're able to deploy this in about an hour, as opposed to a couple of years or 18 months to dig all the trenches and pour the concrete and pull the wires, which is what the traditional stuff has to do. It generates and stores all of its own electricity. It has our patented tracking solution in it, so that it's actually following the sun as it moves across the sky. And it's wind rated for 160 miles per hour of wind and flood proof to 9.5 feet as well. So it's a really fantastic piece of kit. We've got these things deployed all over the United States and a little bit internationally. We're delivering them to the US Army, for example, right now. To the right of that, we've got the solar tree, which is just same technology, exactly. It's generating its own electricity, it's tracking, it's following the sun, and it's storing that electricity in our own proprietary batteries. We're unique in the industry because in that we make our own batteries. This is just a much larger version of the same technology, and that's for charging full-size buses. You can see in the image there, it's a 40-foot passenger bus, but we can go all the way up to Class 8 trucks and everything else as well. So same technology, just larger form factor. Again, rapidly deployed, does not need to connect to the grid, doesn't require any of that construction or electrical work that a grid-tied installation does. To the right of that are batteries. We make batteries for our own use. Certainly, we're a big consumer of batteries. All of our products generate their own electricity and store it, so they work at nighttime. People often say to us, hey, you've got a solar-powered EV charger. How good is that going to be at nighttime? Well, that's why we put batteries in them, so that they'll still charge vehicles at nighttime or even during periods of inclement weather. Certainly when the grid goes down, because we're not connected to the grid. So we're a hedge against blackouts and brownouts. But we're also putting our batteries in a lot of other really interesting stuff. We're in drones, we're in submersibles, robots, medical devices, materials rehandling. We're moving to an increasingly electrified world. Almost everything that we do nowadays runs on electricity. And more is untethered. If you just think about in your own life, things that you used to plug into the outlet in the wall, now they're battery operated. Well, we make batteries which are safe, which are energy dense, and which are long-lived. And the safety part's really important. When you plug them in and when you charge them, everybody's seen the videos of batteries catching on fire on YouTube and elsewhere. Our technology prevents thermal runaway propagation. We stop batteries from catching on fire, and that's going to be a tremendous market advantage for us. We've got lots of patents there, and you can see that on those modular batteries there that on the right hand side. So we're either making bespoke batteries to go inside things like drones, or we're making a module, which is a more standardized version there. That's what we've got out in the market so far, but look what we've got coming. EV Standard. This is a street light replacement product. It has a little windmill on the top generating electricity. It has our patented tracking solar system generating more electricity, and it's also connected to the street light circuit. So we take out an existing street light and we replace it with this product. The entire column is full of our batteries. So we're combining the wind electricity, the solar electricity, and the street lights electricity, putting all of that into our batteries, and then we're charging cars from that product. This is vital because charging cars at the curb for on-street parking is going to be one of the major areas of growth in EV charging coming down the line. We're uniquely able to do that without having to dig up the streets and without having to go through a bunch of permitting and easements and all sorts of other stuff. I'm very excited about this product. Hope to bring this out towards the end of this year. Again, like all our other products, it's patented. And then to the right of that, our drone recharging product. This is for unmanned aerial vehicles. We believe there'll be a massive increase in the use of drones in the future for package delivery. Your Amazon package is going to get delivered by a drone in the future, but also for situational awareness. We're likely to revenue this with the military before. We're already selling a lot of stuff to the military today, but we're likely to revenue this one with the military before anybody else. Same technology again, generating, storing its own electricity with our patented batteries. And this is so that drones can come, touch down, refuel, exchange a little bit of data with us and carry on about their journey without having to go back to a base. And that will dramatically extend the usability of drones. And then finally, to the right, little teaser there, more to come. We've got some fantastic other product offerings coming that we will take through the patenting process. I'm very excited about that. Can't say more about it today, but stay tuned. Okay, so one thing that's really important about us, people often think that we compete with EV charging companies. We don't. We enable them. We don't compete with EV charging companies. We don't even compete with utilities, although, of course, we generate and store electricity. In fact, a lot of large utilities buy products from us so that they can provide electricity to their consumers. And you can see on this chart here, there's 4 EV arcs there, all lined up beautifully in a parking lot. Each one of them has a different brand of EV charger on them. So if you're familiar with ChargePoint or Electrify America or Blink or any of those brands, we're not competing with those guys. We're just getting them deployed without them having to go through construction, without them having to do any kind of electrical work, and that means they don't have to get any permits. And really, that's important because it means that we can get deployed in an hour or so instead of going through months and even years in something. In New York City, it takes an average of 2 years to go through the permitting and construction electrical work. We do the same thing in under 1 hour. New York City, by the way, is our largest municipal customer. They're not our largest customer, U.S. Army is, but got plenty of other good customers too, like Google and others doing this because we just save so much time, no construction, and we don't dig up your parking lot. Nobody likes having a trench running through their parking lot with the yellow tape and all that sort of stuff. We don't do that. And then, of course, our products will continue to charge vehicles during a blackout too. So it's a vital hedge against power interruption. Not just about cars. Obviously, we do a lot of stuff with electric vehicles. You can see that top left-hand corner there too, but we're charging a lot of other stuff, bicycles, motorcycles, and all sorts of other devices. And I'm very, very excited to bring up the fact that last year we set the world record for the longest flight of a production electric aircraft. World record. That's it right down there in the bottom thing. I've been in that aircraft. The pilot even let me take control of it. I can tell you, flying electric, silent, no vibration. It's just an incredible experience. And what's exciting about those airplanes is while a similar aircraft that has an internal combustion engine costs about $40 or $50 an hour to keep in the air, this one costs less than $4 an hour to keep in the air, and even less when you're flying on sunshine. So we think there's going to be an area of significant growth. For us, it's a niche, but it's a huge niche. There are over 20,000 airports in the United States of America, and we can uniquely deploy in them. So as I've already mentioned, much faster than the traditional stuff. Takes about 24 months to put a grid-tied charger in a parking space in New York City. The only thing that Californians do faster than New Yorkers, we can do about 18 months in California. We're under 1 hour to do the same thing. So the same charger, the same charging experience, only you never get a utility bill, and we're deploying it for you in under an hour. Oh, and you can move it just in case you made a mistake, just in case you put it in the wrong place, or if you move. A lot of people are in leased buildings. When they move, they have to leave their grid-tied chargers behind. With ours, you can take it with you. So I mentioned we make our own batteries. Well, that's because we're acquisitive. We're going through a fantastic growth spurt right now. 548% year-over-year increase in sales in 2022. That's organic. But additionally, I'm looking for acquisition targets. I bought a battery company last year because I'm a consumer of batteries. I've been using them for 10 years. I wanted to protect my supply chain, bring that margin in-house, and then get all their patents and all those other customers as well. So we acquired All Cell Technologies last year. They're now Beam All Cell, and they're making our batteries. You can see the up on the big board there. NASDAQ announced that for us. A very exciting part of our growth. It will not be the last one. You're going to see us do more of this. And as I said, our batteries just are the most energy dense, long-lived, and really, really safe. And that's the key thing to think about where they're concerned. I think I've probably already talked enough about these, but the real thing to understand about this is thermal management. Batteries are like Goldilocks. They don't like things too hot or too cold. And if you abuse them in any way at all, they have a tendency to catch on fire. Our technology keeps them in that Goldilocks zone, not too hot and not too cold, and it stops that thermal runaway as well, which is just obviously going to be key as people charge more and more devices within their homes. You can see the sorts of things we're putting batteries into now. Little micro-mobility, micro-electric vehicles there, drones. So I love the submersible market. That's really good. And then, of course, robots of any shape or size. Anything that you can think of now that's a robot is going to run on batteries. And we have fantastic bespoke form factor batteries that are safe and which will allow people to have a great deal of energy density in the shape and size that they want it. Great to have a lot of great products, but we wouldn't want anybody copying them or stealing that from us. So we have a really, really powerful portfolio of patents. This is barriers to entry for the competition. I'm not a guy that goes out there and hunts down every patent I can get after. The litmus test we have is simple. It needs to be a significant barrier to entry for the competition, and it needs to be something we're going to monetize in the next 12 to 18 months, right? Not just chasing after patents to brush my ego or anybody else. And so what you'll see is the patent portfolio that we have, every one of them is fundamental to the value of our products and a serious impediment to others in terms of competing with us. And yes, we will aggressively defend our patents if anybody decides to come after them. So people say to me all the time, oh, you're in San Diego, California. Even if you have a funny accent, you're in a place where there's an awful lot of sunshine. No wonder you make solar-powered products. Maybe they don't work anywhere else. Well, you'll see there's a lot of concentration there in California. But I'm going to tell you something. That's got nothing to do with sunshine. That's just because there are a lot more electric vehicles in California than there are anywhere else in the United States. Look at the Northeast. Anybody who's been to New York in the winter will know that the weather can be anything but sunny and warm. And yet we're heavily deployed up there. And that's because we're solving problems for them. We're charging New York City Police Department cars and all sorts of others. So our product is very well engineered, and we have a great history of operating, even in places where the sun doesn't shine all the time, as you can see across the country, and even internationally a little bit. International expansion is a big part of our plan here. And I'll maybe talk about that a little bit more in a second. Look at this customer list. These are top tier customers. We don't give anything away. We give large customers like the federal government. We have a GSA contract in place, also a DGS contract in place. Sometimes for large volumes, we give a little tiny discount, but we didn't give anything to any of these people to get them on our leaderboard here. These are companies and entities which bought our products because of the value of them, because they solve so many problems for them. And again, that's where we're getting this tremendous growth that we go through here. Very proud, of course, to have the Marine Corps. We're also a proud employer of veterans. It just so happens we're just a couple of miles away from the Miramar Marine Corps Air Station. They take their uniforms off there and they come and put our uniform on here. Great group of people. Look at it. Look at the way they're using the product, though. Mostly for non-tactical purposes, but this is a future war-fighting exercise that we attended. In this instance, we are deployed out in the middle of nowhere, charging all of their electric devices. I can tell you right now, the Marine Corps and anybody in the military wants to get liquid fuels out of their future. Expensive and risky to get liquid fuels to a forward operating environment. We're able to fuel their vehicles with no requirement for a generator, with no requirement for any type of grid connection or anything. And so this is just a great part of their future. In fact, there's a couple of good videos that the Marine Corps made themselves, if you look those up, talking about our products and how much they help. They won't be painted white, obviously, in a tactical environment. We'll find a way to get them to blend a little bit more with the background there, but it's just really a great opportunity. So we're focusing on electric vehicle charging largely because it's a $6 trillion market, according to Goldman Sachs. You know what? They're wrong. It'll be more than that, but this is not a bad place to start. And again, we have the fastest deployed, most scalable, most robust, lowest total cost of ownership solution out there in the market today. That's a Ford F-150 Lightning. Electric vehicles are no longer the domain of elitists in Teslas or hippies in Nissan Leafs. Now it's real American products, the sorts of things that people are really looking for. I own an electric pickup truck, not to 60 in 3 seconds. There's just no way that this is not going to take off, and we're making the infrastructure to support it. We also find some really cool ways of monetizing that. We don't always just sell the product. There are other interesting things we can do with it. In this instance, this would be a sponsored deployment where you can actually drive on Sunshine for free because a corporate entity is paying for the infrastructure in the same way that they put their branding on a stadium or on the side of mass transit. In this instance, they cover the initial cost of and because we have no utility costs, no cost of energy, it's easy for us to pass through the charging for free. And then energy security is really important to us too. The grid is magnificent, but it is vulnerable to blackouts and brownouts. We know it's been targeted by the Russians, by the Chinese, by the Iranians, and people have knocked out substations here. You can knock big check sections of the grid out or even all of it out. Our products are immune to those types of interruptions. And so a lot of our customers buy our products because we will keep charging their vital vehicles even during a blackout or a brownout. But beyond that, we also have an emergency power panel on there. You can plug in other devices to keep the other vital instances of, or pieces of equipment working. First responders, for example, use the product to do that. That image that you see down there in the bottom right-hand corner, in one of our city customers moved EV ARCs that they had to charge their electric vehicles to COVID emergency centers where they didn't have power, and they powered the whole emergency center. So these doctors didn't have to deal with diesel generators and the fumes and the noise and everything else like that. So it's a product with a great deal of value, multiple layers of value, and just obviously very excited about that too. Now, I mentioned we bought the battery company. We're not stopping there. We growing inorganically at an incredible rate. I encourage you to look at our growth numbers. I don't know of another company out there who's growing as fast as we are right now, or that has the discipline that we have. But I'm not going to stop there. We will keep the organic growth going, but I'm looking for other opportunities as well. Certainly international expansion. Europe is the largest automotive market in the world by far. We're going to take our products there. I believe that they will be even more popular in Europe, where their governments are inclined to spend money on green stuff and everything else. Obviously, the war in Ukraine right now has made Europeans feel very sensitive about energy security. We provide that in a way that Mr. Putin cannot impact. So it's a tremendous opportunity for us to grow into that market, and you should stay tuned. I won't stop until I get that done. But there are other really interesting markets for us as well, like the Middle East, for example. Might sound strange to take a renewably energized product to a petro state, but there's a lot of petro dollars there looking for these types of opportunities, and I think we're going to have a great future in that part as well. Not just international expansion, I'm also looking for accretive technologies. Just like buying the battery company was a great thing for us. I'll be looking for other things which will enhance our business and complementary offerings as well. And of course, that cross-pollination thing, we're always looking for acquisitions where when we buy a company, that gives us opportunities to sell all of our products across all of the customer base. And you can see that I bought a battery company. They're charging, we're putting batteries in drones. We have a drone recharging product, right? It sort of makes a lot of sense. And you'll see me continue to look for those types of opportunities. A whole lot of media coverage on it, but I think I'll leave it there, Kyle, and I'll turn it back to you.
I definitely appreciate these insights, and we're going to have to come back and do a bit of an investor Q&A because I myself am itching to ask a bunch of questions in your diversified product lineup, but I definitely want to pass the question off to the viewers. Let us know what you think down below, and we can perhaps bring it up in the future here, and consider subscribing because as news comes down the wire, as we continue to discuss financials and anything else down the road, you're going to get those updates by subscribing. But as always, we definitely look forward to catching you guys in the next one.